The plight of the crapu, a mountain chicken, remains a great concern to wildlife officials. For the past 10 years, a fungal disease which is affecting the skin of the crapu has been threatening to destroy the animals. Assistant Forest Officer Stephen Durant says the crapu can still be heard and seen in some of the known habitats on the island. He says the department has also recorded the presence of young ones. However, the numbers are not significant, and with the help of scientists from London, they are still wrestling with keeping the animals alive.
They've been able to find treatment that can be used to treat the animals in captivity. If you have the animals on hand, you can treat them and save these animals. But in the wild, you probably can treat the animals and release them, back into the wild. But it's something that takes a lot of energy, a lot of work. The disease is really impacting on both populations.
Is the disease spreading in Dominica?
Well, yes, we can say that it is practically almost everywhere in every known crapu habitat. There are some habitats that there are no crapus at all.
Durant says the effort also involves field monitoring and catching smaller frogs called gunuj and testing for the disease.
If we're successful with the captive breeding program, we have to release the animals back into the wild. So we need to continue monitoring, catching animals, swabbing them and testing to find out if the fungus is present. If it's the presence of the fungus is in some of those habitats. So we have to find out which of the habitats that are secured to release the animals when we're successful with our program. It appears that if you continue treating the animals with the treatment that is diagnosed, we think that the animals can build some resistance.
Durant says the department also plans to implement a tagger system to monitor the frogs that are treated. Meanwhile, a captive breeding program, which started last December, will replace the program through which some of the crapu were airlifted to the United Kingdom to help Dominica save the species. The wildlife biologist, which is helping to teach Dominica captive breeding techniques, says efforts were made in the UK to create environmental conditions similar to Dominica, but that did not work. The frogs did not breed. There are 3 left, but they are old and it's very unlikely they will breed. Captive breeding is the highest level of conservation, the stage at which the fight to protect the animals is either won or lost. She says the crapus in the wild are breeding, which is a good sign. However, there was an outbreak of the disease in the facility here 1 month ago, despite precautions, and the findings indicate the disease will not go away anytime soon.
Often animals which are sick or infected, they don't show clinical signs of the disease. So basically, just for looking at the animal, until it's critical on the final stage of the disease, just I would say 1 step before death, you cannot recognize that the animal is sick. And it's also a tendency that when the disease is just invading, so the population was never exposed, it's kind of like vaccination. When the population was never exposed for the disease before, it's gonna cost the population a lot, like a new pathogen. But somehow, when the population learn to live with the pathogen, they got some immune for the disease. So now it's already 10 years, the disease on Dominica.
The wildlife biologist says the Montserrat experience shows that after 5 years of the outbreak, the animals are becoming immune to the disease. That secretions in the skin of some species work like antifungal and bacteria, which help the frogs protect themselves from the disease, and that some species protect themselves better from the fungus than others. 8 frogs have been in captive from last December, and when the rainy season begins, it will be their first breeding season. Martha says frogs are the most threatened group of animals, and it's important that they are protected because frogs help keep the population of disease-causing vectors under control, and they serve as food for other animals.
They are great indicators of the state of the environment. Like I was saying, when something wrong is happening with the environment, frog is the one animal which gives us the response. Just because of the permeable skin, they absorb all of the chemicals.